Hello dear students, welcome to this another video by Ecoholics where we will be discussing question number 11, question number 13 of your IIT JAM 2025 economics paper. As mentioned in my previous video, that how important these PYQs, these past year papers are for any student who is aspiring to clear IIT JAM 2026. So this video becomes more important because we are going to discuss some key concepts in these questions. All right. As I informed you earlier that on our app, you can download the app for free. You can get free PDFs that will help in your preparation. We keep sharing some practice questions, we keep sharing some insights, some strategies, material to read on a continuous basis. So you can download the app and can access to all those free resources, which is going to help you in your preparation. So let's get into the video and learn about the concepts through question number 11 and question number 13. Now, these still are going to be your MCQ question, but these are 2 marks question. Now, for 2 marks, the negative marking would go to 2 by 3 marks. So, more marks, but more negative marking as well. So, let's just learn about these concepts. Question number 11 says that in a statistical hypothesis testing. Now, in this video, why are we discussing question 11 and question 13? Because both of them are focused on hypothesis testing. So we will learn the concept of hypothesis testing through this video. In statistical hypothesis testing, the area of non-rejection is defined as. Now, before we can figure out our answer, let's have a look over here. Let me draw a simple normal curve here and let me call this area as my rejection area. Now, this area which I'm shading here in the lines is my rejection area. So, which is my non-rejection? Now, here non-rejection is not standing on some conditions like the rejection. So, this is my rejection region, which is lined, which is shaded in lines. So, what is my non-rejection area? Non-rejection. Now, if you have understood the concept of hypothesis testing very easily, very thoroughly, I would say, you would know that what is this non-rejection region is known as when you build confidence intervals. What is this? This is alpha by 2. If this is my normal distribution, this is alpha by 2, this is alpha by 2. So this comes to, rejection region comes to alpha. Rejection region comes to alpha. So non-rejection region would be 1 minus alpha. Very easily we have figured out this. The only thing they have done is they have written every option in words. So as soon as you read that in words, you become involved into the question and you start feeling trapped. That's the only thing they try to keep you involved. Let's read. 1 minus probability of rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true. 1 minus probability of not rejecting the null when it is not true. Probability of rejecting the null when it is true minus probability of not rejecting the null when it is not true. Probability of rejecting the null when it is true. So it is very obvious that all the options consist 2 words. Null, you are rejecting null when it is true and you are not rejecting null when it is not true, which means these are errors. So we talk about type 1 error. What is my type 1 error? That is my alpha. Type 1 error says that you are rejecting the null hypothesis even when it is true, whereas type 2 error is the other one, right? So type 1 error is rejecting the null when it is true, which clearly means that my non-rejection region is 1 minus alpha. That means 1 minus probability of rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true. So this gives me A as my correct option. So A will become my correct option. So can you see how easily we have just deducted the answer So that is how you need to build your concepts. That is how you need to build your conceptual clarity, so that by using these diagrams, by using these figures, you can very simply reduce your answers even if you don't know the correct answer. So you just need to write it here. As soon as I read this word, that probability of rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true, I knew this is alpha. So 1 minus alpha. So that is why concepts are very important. All those who say, many students say conceptual is not asked in IIT JAM. So guys, no, it is not happening like that. Concepts are asked by tweaking them. So unless and until your conceptual clarity is not clear, you cannot really attempt questions. Even if no matter what amount of mock test you might have given, no amount of PYQs you have done, without clearing the concepts. All right. Now, the detailed answer is given here, which we have just discussed. So confidence level, which is 1 minus alpha, is my non-rejection region. Question number 13. Power of a statistical test is defined as. What is your power? Can you tell me in the chat box? What is your power? Your power of the test is 1 minus beta. Power of test is 1 minus beta. And what is your beta? What is your beta? Do you know what is your beta? Beta is the type 2 error. Beta is your type 2 error. All right. So let's get into its detailed solution. So the answer is the power of statistical test refers to its ability to correctly reject a false null hypothesis. So when it is false and you are rejecting it. Now type 2 error means you are not rejecting when it is false. It is false, but you are not rejecting. So I want it to reject when it is false. So one may say, if I subtract the type 2 error, I would get the probability whenever it will be false, I'm going to reject it. So beta is not rejecting when it is false. So 1 is the total probability. So from total probability, if I will subtract, so very easily, just remember this. This is 0 to 1. Okay, this is the probability you have drawn. Now I am saying that beta is the probability. Beta is the probability. I don't know what is the answer here, but I know that this is the probability beta. This means I am going to not reject. When H naught is false. When H naught is false. So from 1, if I subtract this, I am going to reject when H naught is false. Correct? So that is my power of testing. So according to that, option B, which is 1 minus the probability of not rejecting null when it is not true, is the correct answer. It is the correct answer. All right. So option B is my correct option. Now with this, we have concluded our video by doing 2 concepts from hypothesis testing. And I hope you will find this video useful and it has helped to clear your basics of hypothesis testing as well. If you find this video useful, please share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel because we are going to discuss more questions from IIT JAM 2025 paper. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.